The auction hall shimmered under cascading golden lights, where elite collectors in tailored elegance exchanged silent bids, unaware their world was about to fracture in a way no wealth could control. Laughter echoed across polished marble floors as a fragile, dirt-covered old woman stepped inside, her torn coat and trembling hands clashing brutally against the room's perfection and pride. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments, what time is it and where are you watching from? Let's start. The host leaned forward with a controlled smirk, his voice sharp and cutting as he mocked her presence, turning her into a spectacle, while wealthy guests exchanged amused and careless glances. A woman in emerald silk laughed louder than the rest, her confidence glowing under the lights, unaware that this exact moment would soon return to haunt her with deep, irreversible regret. The old woman said nothing, her silence steady and unshaken, clutching a worn, folded paper tightly as her eyes fixed not on people, but on the stage, as if waiting for something. Outside, a passerby slowed near the glass walls and raised a phone to record, unknowingly capturing a moment that would soon spread across thousands of screens and shift public attention. Inside, laughter continued, but something about her stillness felt unsettling, as if she wasn't lost or weak, but standing with a purpose no one in the room could yet understand. No one realized yet that within minutes the same voices laughing would fall completely silent, because this was not just an interruption, it was the beginning of exposure. Because what no one in that room understood yet was this: she hadn't come there to beg for attention. She had come to take back something that was always hers. The host raised his hand with calm authority, signaling the next item as attendants stepped forward, placing a sealed antique case beneath sharp white lights that instantly commanded the room's full attention. The collectors leaned in slightly, their eyes narrowing with interest, studying every detail of the case as if its value could be measured in a single glance, unaware of the truth it carried. The old woman stepped forward without permission, her breathing uneven, but her gaze locked tightly onto the case, as if everything around her had disappeared into silence. The host noticed and smirked again, his tone dripping with sarcasm, as he questioned whether she even understood the worth of what she was staring at, drawing controlled laughter once more. But this time the laughter felt thinner, uncertain, as if something invisible had begun pressing against the confidence people carried just moments before inside that hall. The elegant guests exchanged glances, their amusement cracking slightly, sensing a shift they could not explain, as though the moment had quietly slipped beyond their control. Outside, more people gathered along the glass walls, phones raised high as the video spread rapidly, strangers joining live streams, drawn toward attention they could feel. The host began describing the item proudly, calling it rare and priceless, a piece with no known origin, his voice echoing with confidence that no one dared to question. Then the old woman spoke, her voice quiet but sharp enough to cut through everything, claiming the antique case belonged to her, freezing the entire room instantly. For a brief moment, no one reacted, as if reality itself refused to accept what had just been said, before disbelief returned in uneasy, scattered laughter that no longer felt certain. The laughter didn't spread this time. It broke unevenly and faded quickly, as if doubt had entered the room and quietly settled into every corner without permission. The old woman stepped closer again, slower but certain, her grip tightening around the worn paper, her silence no longer weak, but carrying a weight no one could ignore any more. The host's smile thinned, his tone sharper as he dismissed her claim once more, yet a brief pause in his voice revealed something deeper. His control was beginning to slip. The elegant guests straightened in their seats, amusement fading from their faces, replaced by focused stares, as instinct warned them this moment was no longer simple entertainment. Outside, the crowd had doubled along the glass walls, phones raised high as live streams spread rapidly, strangers watching closely, sensing something serious unfolding inside. The old woman slowly raised the fragile paper, her hands trembling slightly, yet her movement steady, as if placing years of truth directly before those who had laughed. The host waved dismissively at first, but the silence in the room forced him to stop, as attention shifted away from him and settled completely on her presence. Whispers replaced laughter, moving across the hall like a quiet warning, as if the atmosphere itself had changed, no longer controlled, no longer safe for arrogance to hide. One investor stepped forward without realizing it, drawn into the tension, sensing that whatever was about to be revealed could not be undone once seen. And in that exact moment, the balance of power shifted silently. As the room understood, this was no longer mockery. It was the beginning of exposure. The old woman unfolded the fragile paper slowly, the faint crackle echoing through the silent hall as every eye locked onto her trembling hands and the truth about to surface. The host stepped closer with forced confidence, letting out a dry, hollow laugh, but the hesitation in his movement exposed a crack in the authority he once controlled so easily. The elegant guests leaned forward without realizing it, their curiosity overpowering judgment, as if something deeper was pulling them toward a truth hidden beneath appearances. Outside, the live stream surged rapidly, viewers flooding in by the second, comments exploding as strangers sensed that something powerful and undeniable was about to unfold. The paper revealed an old ownership record, faded yet unmistakable, carrying a signature directly tied to the antique case displayed beneath the bright white lights. A ripple of whispers spread instantly across the room, sharper and urgent, as the host's expression shifted and his voice caught slightly under the pressure rising around him. The old woman's eyes filled with quiet emotion, not anger, but deep, buried pain, as if this moment carried the weight of everything she had lost years ago. One investor stepped forward and took the paper carefully, scanning every detail, her face tightening as recognition slowly replaced doubt across the room. The host tried to speak, but his words failed him because the truth in that fragile paper was louder than anything he could say to defend himself. In that heavy silence, the room crossed a point of no return, as disbelief turned into fear, and the hidden truth began exposing everything that had been buried. The hall stood frozen as the meaning of the document settled in, each face shifting from curiosity to shock, as her claim transformed into something dangerously real. The host stepped forward quickly, his voice sharper as he questioned its authenticity. Yet the slight tremor beneath his words exposed the pressure rising inside him. The investor, holding the paper, looked up slowly, her expression completely changed, as if she had just connected a truth others were still too afraid to accept. Outside, the crowd reacted instantly, comments flooding with confusion and rising anger, as viewers began questioning how such a truth had remained hidden for years. The old woman finally spoke again, her voice fragile but steady, revealing the antique case had been taken from her long ago, under circumstances no one ever questioned. A heavy silence followed, pressing against every person in the room, forcing them to face the laughter that now felt painfully wrong and deeply misplaced.
Even knowing
The host tried to interrupt, but
may
hesitation
never
slowed
return.
him as doubt spread across the
Still,
hall, weakening his
I wait.
authority with every passing second. The elegant guests lowered their gaze slightly, discomfort replacing pride, as the truth began tearing through the illusion they once believed in. The old woman
Your
stood
shadow
still, her
lingers in the
silence stronger than
silence,
words now,
like a song
as
that
if she
never
no longer
ends.
needed to prove anything,
Every corner
because the
holds
truth
your
was
memory.
already
Every
undeniable.
night I break
And just
again.
as the room
I
struggled
know
to
time
process
has
it all,
pulled you
a deeper
farther
layer of truth
to a place
began to
I
rise,
cannot reach.
one that
But
would
my
not
heart
just
still
confirm her
leaves the
claim,
door
but
open
expose
for a
someone
dream beyond
inside.
belief.
A sudden voice from the back cut through the silence
I'm
as a
still
staff member
waiting
rushed
for
forward
your
with a sealed file,
footsteps,
urgency
though I
in
know
every step,
they'll
as if
never
carrying
come.
something no one in the room could
Holding
ignore.
on to broken
host
echoes
turned
of a love
Irritation
already
flashing
gone.
across his face
I'm
at first,
still
but it
waiting
faded
for your
instantly
return,
as the
though
file
the
was
stars
placed before
say
him,
it's
its
untrue.
weight far heavier
Somewhere
than
deep
expected.
inside
The
this
investor
broken
stepped
heart,
closer without
I
hesitation,
still
taking the file from his
belong
hands,
to you.
her eyes scanning rapidly as her expression
People tell me
tightened with
keep
every
on
line she
moving,
read.
that some
Outside,
endings
the
must
live stream
remain.
exploded with reaction.
But how do I
Viewers
stop
connecting
believing
fragments
when
quickly
your
as
name still
confusion turned
calls
into
my
a shocking
pain?
realization spreading across
I'm
countless
still
screens.
waiting
The
for your
documents revealed a
footsteps,
hidden
though I
transaction,
know they'll
proving the
never
antique
come.
case had been taken
Holding on
unlawfully
to
years ago
broken
under authority
echoes
from
of a
someone
love
inside that very
already gone.
vault. A wave
I'm
of shock
still
moved
waiting
through the
for
room,
your
louder now,
return, though
as
the
truth
stars
tore
say
through the
it's
image of
untrue.
power and perfection
Somewhere
that
deep
once defined
inside
the
this
space of
broken
quiet
heart,
control.
I
The
still
host's composure cracked
belong
visibly,
to
his confidence collapsing as every eye turned toward him, no longer with respect, but with growing suspicion and silent accusation. The investor stepped back slowly, her expression now filled with controlled anger, as she realized the depth of what had been
Maybe
hidden
hope
behind
is
polished
just a
words and
prison.
influence. The
Maybe
old
love
woman
can
stood
blind the
still,
soul,
her gaze
but
steady,
even knowing
no
you
longer
won't
asking to be
find
heard,
me,
because the truth
still
had already
wait
taken her place
here
in front of everyone watching. And in that moment, everything
I'm
became
still
clear.
waiting for
The
your
man who mocked
footsteps,
her
though
wasn't
I
just
know
part of the
they'll
system.
never
He was
come.
the one who had taken
Holding on to
everything.
broken
The room
echoes
shifted
of a
instantly
love
as every gaze
already
locked
gone.
onto the host, no
I'm
longer
still
with
waiting
admiration,
for
but with
your
suspicion.
return,
As
though the
truth
stars
crushed
say
whatever
it's
authority he
untrue.
held.
Somewhere
host
deep
tried to
inside this
but his
broken
words broke apart
heart,
under
I
pressure,
still
his confidence fading as the weight of exposure stood stronger than anything he could say. The investor stepped forward with calm authority, her voice firm as she declared the auction would be stopped immediately until justice was fully served. Outside, the crowd erupted with reactions, voices rising as comments flooded in support, turning the moment into something far bigger than that single auction hall. The old woman's eyes filled with tears, but this time they carried relief, as the truth
I stand
finally
here,
stood beside her, no longer hidden behind silence or
quietly,
denied by power. Guests who once laughed
like a
lowered their
stranger
gaze, unable to face the moment, as the
outside
weight
your
of their
love.
careless judgment turned into quiet shame across the room.
I
The
still
investor
see
turned
you
toward the
in
host
the
again,
distance,
her expression
like a
unshaken,
light I
making
used
it
to
clear
know.
that power had
Your
shifted
laughter
completely,
shines for
and he no
someone
longer
else
controlled
now.
anything
While
here.
I was
The host
let it
stepped
go.
back slowly,
Close
surrounded
enough
not
to
by
feel
influence
your
but by
presence,
consequences,
far
as the
enough
past he
to
buried
lose my
returned at the
place.
worst moment
Just
to
a
expose
shadow
him
in
before
your
everyone.
story,
The
a
silence that
forgotten
followed
name, a
was no longer
fading
empty, it carried
face.
meaning, a powerful
I
shift where
quietly
arrogance
keep
collapsed
watching
and
you,
accountability finally
like
took
a
its rightful
stranger
place.
passing
And in that
by,
defining moment,
standing
everything
outside
changed.
your love story,
Mockery turned
while
into
my
regret,
own heart asks me
power
why.
into weakness,
I'm the
and justice
silence
began to
in the
rise where
background,
silence
the
once
one
ruled.
you'll never
The auction hall
choose,
fell into a
loving
silence
you
so deep it
without
felt
belonging,
unreal, as if every voice
with
had vanished,
everything to
leaving
lose.
only the heavy weight of truth settling
I
across
don't
every
speak
heart.
my hidden
The
feelings.
investor stepped
I
forward
don't
without
reach to
hesitation,
change your
securing
way.
the antique case before
So I
gently placing it
bury
into
all
the old
my
woman's hands,
heartache and
restoring what
love
had
you
been taken
from
years ago.
far away.
The old woman held it close to her chest,
I
her
quietly
trembling finally
keep
stopping,
watching you,
as tears
like a
rolled down
stranger
slowly,
passing
carrying
by,
years of
standing
pain, loss,
outside your love
and a quiet
story,
sense of justice.
while my own heart asks
Her
me
eyes
why.
closed,
I'm the
not in
silence
weakness,
in the
but in relief,
background,
as if a
the
lifetime
one
of
you'll
burden had
never
finally been lifted
choose,
in front of those who
loving
once
you
doubted her.
without
Outside,
belonging,
the same road that
with
once ignored her
everything to
now stood
lose.
still. Strangers watching silently through their screens, witnessing how quickly judgment can turn into respect. The host remained frozen in the background, stripped of power, as regret replaced his
Maybe
arrogance,
someday
forcing
I'll
him to
stop
face a truth
hoping,
he could never
stop
deny or
searching your eyes
escape
for
again.
me.
The crowd lowered
But
their eyes
until
one
then
by
I'll
one,
stay a
realizing
shadow,
this was never
where your
just an
heart
auction,
will
but a
never
reflection
be.
of how easily people judge without knowing someone's hidden story.
I
No one
quietly
spoke,
keep
because the
watching
silence
you,
itself had become
like
the
a
loudest
stranger
message,
passing
proving
by,
that dignity and truth
standing
are never
outside
defined
your
by
love
wealth,
story,
status,
while
or
my
outward
own
appearance.
heart asks me
And as she
why.
slowly walked
I'm
away
the
with what was
silence
always
in
hers,
the background,
no one laughed this
the
time,
one you'll
because some
never
truths
choose,
don't just silence a
loving you
room, they
without
change it forever.
belonging,
The story ends here,
with
but the mystery
everything
lives
to
on.
lose.
Like, subscribe, and return for the next unforgettable journey.